How you doing? Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about whether or not you should avoid movies, TV shows, that kind of thing that portray alcohol. This comes from a comment from somebody called Calix, and they say, what should I do about movies and TV with so many scenes presenting alcohol, bars, clubs, parties, etc.? Should I avoid them altogether or keep watching? How will I enjoy these movies otherwise good if I know that a few scenes present a destructive habit? It's a good question, you know, and it's something to think about in the beginning. The short answer is that if you don't want to see alcohol, if you don't want to see alcohol products, if you don't want to see alcohol being drank, if you don't want to see bars, you know, any of the places where alcohol is being served, then certainly don't watch any TV or any movies, you know, any of that stuff. You know, a lot of TV and cinema is brainwashing. It's probably helped us over the years. I remember my mum used to watch soaps when we were growing up, soap operas, and they were full of alcohol. I mean, TV programming back then was full of alcohol. I think it is still, depending on what you watch. But it's full of brainwashing. It's brainwashing in other ways as well. You know, it depends on the politics of the person, the religion of the person. You know, there's so many different aspects where they're pushing a certain point of view, right? So, but that aside, if you take, let's put it like this: when somebody goes into a rehabilitation clinic for heroin or cocaine or any of the illegal drugs, the illicit drugs, they're going to come out and they're going to be told, avoid going to the people or going to the places where these drugs are being consumed, and avoid the people who are consuming these drugs or who are likely to offer you these drugs, right? And that's a valid request for anybody who comes out of rehabilitation from those drugs, right? Now, when somebody comes out of rehabilitation for alcohol, how can you say that to them? You can say, avoid bars. You can say, get all the alcohol out of your house, avoid people who are drinking as much as you can. But alcohol and alcohol advertising are everywhere. So they're on the TV, they're in movies, billboards, they're in the cinema, right? You walk down any main street, walk into any supermarket, and you're going to see liquor stores. You're going to see aisles in the supermarket where people are doing this time of the year. This is I'm making this just before Christmas, is rife with people who are drinking, who are planning to drink a lot of alcohol, people who are talking about it. You know, it's in the culture. You know, it's embedded into the culture. So it's very, very difficult to avoid that. Now, I would advise in the beginning that you avoid as much as possible with alcohol. And there's two things that you have to change when you're moving forwards. We talk about stop the flow, do the work, move on. Right, there are the three stages. So stopping the flow is getting rid of the alcohol. Doing the work is working on your mind mostly, trying to get rid of the personal alcohol habits, the personal alcohol references. You know, you're thinking about alcohol, you're taking alcohol as a part of yourself. And then moving on is where you don't give a shit about alcohol anymore, right? It's just not part of your vocabulary, it's not part of your thinking, it's not part of your life, right? That's the first part, is that internal stuff, the internal stuff that you've got to deal with. And then there's the physical stuff. The physical things are the people in your life and the environment. And there's certain parts of that you can organize yourself. You know, you can certainly avoid certain people who are drinking. You know, maybe not if they're living in the same house as you. You can empty your house of alcohol if that's possible. You know, for some people, their partners don't drink. It's very easy to get rid of the alcohol. Even if their partner drinks, it's easy to say to them, look, you know, get rid of the alcohol or put it into another room or get it out of my line of sight. So you're doing as much as you can in the beginning to try and mitigate, to try and reduce the triggers of the alcohol, physical triggers, the triggers in your environment. Now, like I said, that's fairly easy to do. But in some of your attempts to avoid alcohol, so you might buy alcohol-free beers. You know, we've done a few videos on this where people are still triggered by the alcohol-free beers. So that's one of the things. Like I said, movies, TV, all that kind of stuff, they present all kinds of crap anyway. But in general, what we're trying to teach is it doesn't matter what happens in the outside world. It doesn't matter what happens in the, you know, what you watch on TV or what you see when you're walking down the road or what other people do. All of that stuff it all depends on how you respond to it, right? So it's you think about what's happening, you adjust your mind for the consequences of that, and then you cope with what's left, right? You cope with the internal stuff that you can't get rid of just yet, that habit that is going to take a while to get rid of, right? So in Habits V2, we talk about the vigorous cycle, and one of those parts of the vigorous cycle is all the information that is coming into your brain, and we try and teach you filters to filter out as much of the crap as possible, right? To allow in only the stuff that is helping you. I mean, it's virtually impossible to clear out everything, but as much as you possibly can. There's a lot of influence in the stuff that we see, in movies and TV and, with other people. I always remember Eddie Murphy, I think it was in Raw, it was one of his early stand-up stage shows. And he was talking about the movie Rocky, and he went to see Rocky, and everyone, all the Italians were coming out of the movie theater pretending to be Rocky, hey, yo, Adrian, and, doing all this music and all this kind of stuff. And it's that influence. I mean, it influenced the culture, but that's everywhere. Movies influence you, and I was influenced by the Rat Pack, by John Wayne, by people like that who were heavy drinkers, heavy smokers, and that's what I thought about as being a man, being a fully fledged man. So, there's a lot to be said for it. As for alcohol, all you can do is stop the flow, as I said, and do the work, and do this gradually. It's not going to happen overnight, and then move on with life. And part of that process is going to be getting used to the alcohol outside of you. So there's two ways to look at this. The alcohol advertisements and all the stuff that's happening with the alcohol, that's part and parcel of this getting used to. The more you're bombarded with these things, it makes it difficult in the beginning, but towards the latter part of this, once you get into it and you're it helps you to overcome the influence of those things very early. So, it depends what you want. I mean, you can decide, well, I'm not going to watch any TV or movies for a month, say. I'm just going to do other things. I'm going to try other things. And then I'll go back to that and see how I am after that. So I hope that makes sense to you. If you want any help from us, www.habitsv2.com. We're there. We've got a full program. We've got one-on-one conversations, we've got a forum, we've got group sessions, all that kind of stuff. So it's very helpful if you're trying to get to that next best version of yourself, to stop drinking alcohol and to move forwards. If you want to ask any questions, leave a comment down below and subscribe. We choose the subscribers, the questions from the subscribers first, so they get priority. So take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you in another video. Take care. Onwards and upwards. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Bye.